So back today to start wrapping up the end of lightweight FPS mouse season 2019. At the end of August, I took a look at the G-Wolves Hati gaming mouse, but it was a really early sample. It was obvious that there was still some areas where they needed to improve that mouse. So I'm back today with the final retail version of that mouse. We're going to take a look at what's changed and what's improved before I come to you with my ranked top 5 gaming mice of the season. You ready? Let's go. This video is brought to you by Bookmark.com. Bookmark's a free website builder where you can create a professional-looking website with hosting in just a couple minutes by answering 7 simple questions. Bookmark's AI engine, Ada, literally builds your website right in front of your face in less than 2 minutes, and you can edit virtually every aspect of the page once it's complete. It's awesome. Click the link in the description below or check them out at Bookmark.com. Yo, I'm Brian P. You're watching BadSeed Tech, and today we're taking a look at the final retail version of the Hati gaming mouse from G-Wolves. For transparency, this was sent out by the team at HK Gaming for review, but as you should know by now, doesn't affect my review in any way. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time today retreading all the aspects of the mouse from the first review. I'll link it up in the corner if you want to check it out. We still have a lightweight skeletal frame, ambi shape that is very similar to, but not exactly like, the G Pro Wireless. Measurements are 124 millimeters long, 62 at the front, 65 at the rear, 57.5 at the grip, with a height of about 40 millimeters. Final version weighs right at about 64 grams on my scale. I really like G-Wolves' interpretation of the G Pro Wireless shape because of that wider rear flare, which I do use in fingertip grip. Shape and dimensions, of course, have not changed since the early release. A notable change here is the use of the 3360 versus the 3389 sensor. 3389 was evidently difficult to source when they went to final production with this. Your mileage may vary depending on how you play, but in the DPI range that I use, which is anywhere from 8 to 1200 depending on the surface, I really don't notice any difference in that sensor, so I doubt that's going to be a deal breaker for anybody. The amount of different colorways available is pretty insane, though we still haven't seen that Galaxy Phantom colorway yet. Looks amazing. I got the Vista Blue here today from HK Gaming. Love it with the JTK Hyperfuse set. Sick combo for sure. Mouse 1 and 2 still exhibit a fair bit of post-travel. Pre-travel is a non-issue. When manipulated, they show some side play as well, but in regular use, I never feel this. This post-travel in-game doesn't affect me at all either. I play really well with this mouse. Main switches here are also different. They went away from Omron and went with TTC Golden Micro switches. Can't say I've ever seen them before, but I like them. They've got a much firmer click that's also a bit lower pitched and quite a bit louder. Side buttons here have been addressed. Front still feels really crisp. Rear has a tiny bit of play when manipulated, but in use feels really good. Coating here is also a bit different on the top shell this time around. It has more of a matte grip than the early copy, like a light chalk texture. I really like it. Still doesn't show oil on the top. The side panels are a little more slick and do show oil, but due to the light gray color, it really doesn't stick out. Scroll wheel was a big opportunity on the early copy. There's still a couple issues here, and I hear about some issues out there in the community. Side play has been mitigated in terms of the angle, but now the whole wheel assembly will slide back and forth in the frame. It's odd. Actuation force to depress feels lighter or very similar, honestly too close to call. It's also quite a bit louder and introduces some rattle as well, depending on use. I wouldn't go so far as to call it bad. In terms of performance, I actually like it, but something about that build doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence for long-term durability. Cable here is still phenomenal, and I'm happy to see it color matched in gray as well. Packaging, of course, has seen a big improvement. You not only get a thick cardboard display box, but inside is a collector's tin as well, different from the one I received with the Skoll. Inside, you'll find an envelope with 2 sets of extra feet, the additional front and rear insert glides, and 2 sets of perforated foam grips, both for the sides and mouse 1 and 2. These come in black, so I'm not going to wreck the aesthetic of this mouse with these, but it's a nice thought. Under the tray, you'll also find 2 replacement main switches and the additional paracord as well. Again, in black here, so nice to have in a pinch, but it would have been outstanding to see it in the color matched gray. Nonetheless, I think it's safe to call G-Wolves the packaging kings. They're doing the most, for sure. They do have software now, which doesn't contain a lot of surprises. Outside of basic DPI control, remapping, and macros, you'll have polling rate adjust, lift-off distance, and debounce control. So in spite of all the recent competition, the Hati still ranks pretty high up on the list for me. There's just something I love about that shape. And I know it's very, very similar to the G Pro wireless, but that subtle difference on the rear of that mouse makes a lot of difference for me in terms of how I play. After spending some time with a lot of different mice recently and hearing a lot of feedback from the community, I really only have two concerns. One that has to do with this mouse in particular, and the other that kind of has to do with G-Wolves as a whole. The first is that this mouse just kind of has a more budget feel in hand versus the competition. I think it comes down to the plastic compound used, but the hand feel is just a little off, and the shell has a tendency to resonate with clicks and scroll and whatnot more than other mice out there. When you're holding something like this, and then you hold a Logitech or a Razer, even a Final mouse, there's just this feeling that it's made from cheaper materials. The other thing is that I think it's safe to say now that consistency is an area of opportunity for G-Wolves. Whether or not you really enjoy the Skoll or the Hati really comes down to whether or not you got a good one. I've had people reach out, they've had zero problems with their mouse whatsoever. I've had other people reach out and they've had excessive play on the triggers or the buttons or more side flex than other units or whatever. Kind of a wild card. Luckily, these are available on Amazon now with that fast, cheap shipping and safe return policy. Still, that $80 is not a budget price by any means, so don't settle for a subpar unit. Make sure you get a good one. When they're as intended, they're great mice. Despite those issues, I still love the Hati. I like the shape, I like something about the way it performs. It's really natural for me. I've spent the past 2 weeks going back and forth between it and the Viper Ultimate, but like I said, I'll be back real soon with my top 5. As always, links in the description for everything we talked about today. Any questions, hit me in the comments or drop by the Discord. And that's it for this time. I'm Brian P. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and until next time, stay up.